You can spot any psychopath by looking for these warnings. Number 20. Lack of realistic long-term goals. HealthyPlace.com explains that psychopaths lack the ability to set realistic long-term goals. Because of their inflated sense of self, they have a tendency to establish unattainable goals. Number 19. Parasitic lifestyle. A study published in the Journal of Abnormal Psychology finds that some psychopaths live what can be classified as a parasitic lifestyle, meaning they will leech off of those around them and take credit for accomplishments achieved by others. Number 18. Need for stimulation. Proneness to boredom. According to HealthyPlace.com, a common trait of psychopaths is their need for stimulation. They are easily bored and, because of their restless minds, are constantly in need of entertainment. This can often lead to situations which could potentially put people in danger. If a psychopath gets bored and feels the need to be exhilarated, they may feel the need to do something dangerous to relieve their boredom. Number 17. Short personal space. Another indicator of psychopathy is a tendency to invade personal space. A study published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience found that individuals with high levels of cold-heartedness prefer shorter interpersonal distances. Number 16. Sucker for thrills. A psychopath is also partial to adrenaline-inducing activities. They enjoy extreme sports like skydiving and drag racing. Some of the crime that they commit is also as a result of them seeking a thrill. Number 15. Unfazed. According to an article published by Scientific American, psychopaths are unfazed not only by social, moral, or legal consequences of their actions, but they are also not easily disturbed or affected by situations that may, for instance, startle a neurotypical. Number 14. Rage. One of the few emotional responses that have been attributed to psychopaths is anger, which appears to be intact and perhaps enhanced in psychopathy, according to one study published in the journal Frontiers in Human Neuroscience. Abigail A. Marsh finds that elevated anger responding is intrinsic to many descriptions of psychopathy. She also references 2 case studies that include numerous descriptions of psychopaths whose misbehavior include frequent temper tantrums and rage-induced aggression. Number 13. Shallow emotions. A study conducted by Dr. Willem H. J. Martens from the WCON Institute of Theoretical Psychiatry and Neuroscience demonstrates that psychopaths show signs of emotional abnormalities like shallow affect. This means that events that may engender an emotional response from a neurotypical may have little to no effect on a psychopath. That, however, does not prevent them from feigning these emotions in order to fit in or manipulate. Number 12. Don't believe that rules apply to them. Psychology Today explains that psychopaths believe that they are above any rules or conventions so that they are able to get away with terrible behavior. Much like narcissists, they are so self-centered that they believe that they are not held to the same standards as others. Number 11. Walking contradiction. According to a Business Insider article, psychopaths will contradict themselves often. Not only do they have that been there, done that toughness combined with a false innocence that draws their victims in, they also contradict themselves in their behavior and speech, and will do so without so much as a second thought. This is because psychopaths lie about almost everything. They tend to get caught up in their lies and contradict themselves regularly because of this. Number 10. Juvenile delinquency. A study published by the International Journal of Offender Therapy and Comparative Criminology shows that youth with high psychopathic traits start engaging in criminal activities earlier on in life, come into contact with the justice system earlier in life, and have higher levels of conduct disorder, behavior problems, and delinquent behaviors. Number 9. Early behavioral problems. If you can recall or look into their childhood, do you notice unsettling patterns like enjoying hurting or torturing animals? Do they have a long history of lying to avoid getting in trouble? Most psychopaths have a long history of manipulative and questionable activity. This type of behavior typically starts early on in a person's life and only gets worse as they grow into adults. Number 8. Lack of accountability for their actions. Psychology Today explains that this is how they are able to manipulate and bend people to their will. They will feel no responsibility whatsoever and will stop at nothing to get what they want. Number 7. Often well-liked. According to Psychology Today, psychopaths are able to get along with almost everyone. They are friendly and approachable, which allows them to gain your trust and learn about you. This is because they are great at lying and manipulating others. Because of their manipulation skills, they can convince almost anyone that they are good people, making them seem likable when in reality, they are extremely evil. Number 6. Liars. Reader's Digest states that another clue to detect a psychopath is that they will lie about anything to get what they want. It gives them a false sense of power over everything. They are experts at lying, and more often than not, they get away with it. Psychopaths will lie to make themselves look better, even going so far as to make up complete lies about their past, their lifestyle, and their relationships. Number 5. Believe they are better than others. According to an article on psychopaths that was published in CNBC, psychopaths think that they are better than everyone else, and that is why they get away without feeling any guilt. They have an inflated sense of worth. They tend to lie about things and sometimes even convince themselves of these lies so that they can see themselves in a better light. These types of people are not to be trusted and are some of the most dangerous types of people in the world. Number 4. Only value themselves. International Business Times reveals that as long as a psychopath is doing what they want and getting what they want, they couldn't care less if the world goes up in flames. The only reason a psychopath will do anything is to benefit themselves. If it doesn't benefit them in any way, they won't do it. What's worse is that a psychopath is willing to put the happiness of others at risk just for their own benefit. Number 3. Enjoy making others feel guilty. MentalHealth.net explains that another way to tell that a person is a psychopath is if they take pleasure in making others feel guilty. One obvious warning sign that you may be dealing with a psychopath is that they like to manipulate people's emotions in order to get them to do what they want. They pick up small details about you, and once they build your trust, they will use that information against you. This is manipulation at its finest and can be hard to detect. Number 2. Lack of empathy. According to LiveScience.com, a psychopath is unable to place themselves in another person's shoes or see things from their perspective if it's not beneficial for them. However, they are capable of mimicking empathy or sympathy by observing others. Number 1. Lack of guilt. According to Psychology Today, a psychopath will do what they please without consideration for how their behavior will impact others, and without feeling a sense of remorse. A psychopath will not feel guilty about his or her behavior, even if it hurts the people around them. When you picture a psychopath, usually the image you think of is a weapon-wielding individual with a crazed look in their eye. Well, that's the image that popular culture has portrayed, but how accurate is that definition? It's not as simple as the stereotypical depictions you see in films and TV shows. One of the biggest myths about psychopaths is that they're evil or all violent and criminal. The term psychopath was coined in the 1900s when doctors noticed certain mental health patients who appeared neurotypical and had what they called a mental depravity. What situations have you been in or experienced that may have meant you were dealing with a psychopath? Let us know in the comment section below. Enjoyed this video? Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.
Turn up. Let's go.